All right, I hope you're all doing well today. So for the video this afternoon, we're going to be going over how to install the rebuild kit seals in the INTELI-jet injection device. It's a pretty simple process, so we'll just jump right in and get started. So first off, what you want to do is turn on the device. And then you want to go to fixed mode. It starts off at 4 mils, so you just hit 4 mils, hit dose. And this is just to bring the piston forward enough so you can expose those seals. So once we take the front of the unit off, we can access those. So let me go ahead, we can turn that back off. And then to pop the tubing off the input side, we just pull back on the black color on that elbow fitting and pop that tubing out. Get that right out of the way. And then we can unscrew the power cord from the back, set those aside. And really you just need two tools for this. You need a 5/32 Allen wrench and a pick. So the pick, first thing we're going to do is we're going to flip this up on its end. And you can see right here in the front, there's a little clip. And what this clip does, we just pop this out. And that little C-clip there holds in this pressure sensor. So we want to make sure we take that out first. Just slide that out. And that's just so when we unbolt the front of this, we don't pull on that wire and knock anything loose on the inside. So once we've got that pressure sensor taken off, we have these two 5/32 Allen bolts on the front. So we just loosen those up. Those are pretty easy to take off. We just unscrew those real quick. Take out one. Take out the second. And then there's not many seals in this device. So once we've got those two Allen screws out, we can pop off this head piece, which has the output check valve in it. Right inside of that, we've got one seal on top of there. It seals the top of the glass cylinder. So we take that seal off. Then we can pop off this black sleeve that holds the piston. There's one O-ring on the top of this. Pop that out. Take this glass cylinder off. One more O-ring on the bottom of that cylinder. If it's not around the bottom of the cylinder, it's set inside the bottom of this black piece. There's just one of these smaller O-rings that go over that glass cylinder and set on either side of this. There's one seal in the bottom here. So we can pop that out and pull it over the piston. This is just another flat seal, just like the one from the top. Then we've got three seals on the piston itself. The first one and the third one are a little bit thicker and larger. The one in the middle is a little bit thinner. So we can take this first ring off. Then we can go for the middle one. Pop that middle ring out. Then we can pop this bottom ring out. So once we've got all those seals off, that is all the seals that we're going to be replacing. So we've got the three that go on the piston itself, with the thinner one in the middle, two flat washers, one just on the inside of the body over the piston. The other one goes right in this head unit. And these two thinner ones that go on this glass cylinder, we'll see when we install. Now, when you take off this middle ring on the piston here, there's two little dots in here. And you'll see there's little set pins in there that hold this piston head on the actuator. So you want to make sure those don't fall out when you're replacing the seals. If it does, just make sure the piston's on there good, and you can slide that pin right back in there. So once we have all of our old seals off, we'll go ahead and install the new ones. So we have our moly coat. We can just set all these old seals aside here. Don't confuse them with our new ones. And then again, for that rebuild kit, we've got our two flat washers, our two larger, thinner washers for around the cylinder, and our three piston seals themselves, again with that thinner one going in the middle, and we get a new C-clip for that pressure sensor. So first what we do is we get that moly coat, open that up. I just squeeze a little bit of this onto my finger, take the 2 flat washers, and I just rub that grease into them a little bit. And this just helps soften up the seals, helps them seal a little bit better, rather than installing them without any lubricant on there. Squeeze a little bit more onto my finger, and then I do the same thing with the 3 for the cylinder. Just kind of work those around in the grease a little bit. And it can be hard, those little seals want to stick to your fingers a little bit. But it also helps them stay in place when you're putting it back together. Then we work these around in the lubricant a little bit. Put those down. And then I'm going to pop these gloves off just for a little better dexterity. So first we're going to take one of the flat washers. I'm going to put that over the cylinder. And that gets tucked right down into the body there. And you can use the flat side of your pick, not the sharp side, to just tuck that in a little bit. I'm going to take one of the larger O-rings, put that first O-ring on there. Again, we're making sure those 2 set pins are still there for the piston. We don't want those to fall out. I'm going to get that thinner O-ring. Get that set in there. And once that thinner O-ring is in there, that holds those 2 pins in place for the piston, so we don't have to worry about those falling out. And then we get that last thicker seal onto the bottom of the cylinder. So then we've got all 3 of those piston seals set in there nice and tight. Get one last little bit of grease. I just dab that lightly around those seals. And we have our glass barrel. We put the 10 mil side towards the piece of equipment. Take one of these smaller O-rings. I'm going to place that on either side of this glass barrel. We just want that kind of balance between the 2. So then we want to make sure the wire catch for this pressure sensor is on the pressure sensor side. Where we slide this back on. A little pressure with your thumb to seat that over the piston. Make sure this top seal on the piston is tucked in there nice. And then our other last flat O-ring gets tucked right in this housing on the front where the inlet check valve is. We're going to put this piece right on. Push that down and snug it a little bit. 2 5/32 Allen screws. And these, we want to tighten them down evenly. As the seal's set, it'll kind of pull everything together nicely. So you don't want to screw one side all the way. So as soon as you get tension on there, then just start working one side to the other. Give it a couple turns on one side. Go back to the top. A couple spins on the top. A couple spins back at the bottom. And you'll see once all this is nice and sealed and tight, and you're not going for super tight on these, you'll feel when the screws kind of bottom out in the device. And just give them a little bit of tug from there. A little bit there. And then the last seal that comes in the kit is this new washer for the pressure sensor itself. So we just take our pick in there. Pop that O-ring off. A little bit of moly coat on that new seal. I'm just trying to get this on that first ring on the pressure sensor. And it can be a little squirrely once you get the grease on there. Pop that on there, it's nice and seated. Then we're just going to slide this pressure sensor right back into the hole nice and square. Press it into seat, press the wire into seat. Then back here at the top, I usually put the check valve side of the pin in first, push the bottom one in. To position here. Got a little bit of grease on my fingers, so it's fighting me a tiny bit. Get that lined up. Slide that down into place. That locks the pressure sensor in. And then there you go. That's the how you replace the seals in the INTELI-jet injection device. Thank you.